All right, we are closing in on open enrollment season. If you are using Medicare and have an Advantage plan, the window to make any changes is coming up October 15th through December 7th. And Robert Powell with Yahoo Finance reminds us not to overlook this important time. Take a listen.
Most people stick with the same plan that they had the previous year, and that isn't always good because these plans change every year. The drug formularies change, the pharmacies change. So what worked well last year may not work well next year. And then consider the big picture. These rising drug prices are moving people toward Medicare Advantage plans, bundled plans where you get a MA plan and a Part D plan. But you should look carefully at these things because you want to make sure that if you switch over to such a plan, that the doctors that you want are in the network of the Medicare Advantage plan.
So, Jimmy, talk to us about how you help people with their Medicare decisions, and have you seen them able to make some improvements?
Yeah, Casey, I think this clip actually illustrates and highlights the importance of working with an advisor that focuses on retirees, because Medicare, just like every other government program, whether we're talking about Social Security or Medicaid or anything like that, is very confusing. So we're entering that stage right now of open enrollment, specifically for Medicare Advantage plans. And with us, because we are so retirement focused, Medicare is one of those pillars that we address with all of our clients, because literally every person that's over the age of 65 is using Medicare. And it's important because, as that clip highlighted, people may not understand it, specifically with these Medicare Advantage plans, which are becoming really, really popular, that when you sign up for a plan, every October, those plans can change. And what that means is that if you have a physician, for example, that you've been seeing for years and you signed up for a specific plan because that physician was in the network, that plan can change every year and they may remove that physician. And if you don't get your plans checked every year, then you're going to go into a new year without your primary caretaker in your network. And so that will kind of blow up a lot of the medical advice that you're getting when you're looking at your specifically your physicians, but also those drug plans. Those drug plans change all the time. So you could have certain medication that's in a tier 1, which there may not even be a copay, and the next year they can increase it, put it on a higher tier, and suddenly you're paying hundreds of dollars each time you get that prescription filled. So it's really imperative that you have an advisor that has the resources and the knowledge to kind of guide you through this, because Medicare Advantage specifically can be a bear. And I've seen where people's finances get depleted because they were in the wrong plan and they had a medical event. So I definitely encourage people to do their research and also reach out to someone that can educate them on this.
Absolutely. One of the biggest sources of anxiety I think I hear from retirees is when the rules suddenly change on them, especially with something as important as their healthcare. And I know you mentioned, Jimmy, that a lot of people maybe got something in the mail recently about a plan being discontinued. So I think a lot of our listeners might have this on their mind. What happens if their Medicare plan gets discontinued?
That could be really scary, obviously, especially if you're in the middle of a health event. So you need to make sure, number one, as we just stated, to stay on top of your plan and have someone in your corner. But on top of that, if your plan discontinues, which we have seen more and more, because with a lot of these Advantage plans, they are a profit center. So if a plan's not profitable for that carrier, they're going to discontinue it. So if you find yourself in that situation, there's a couple of different options you have. Number one is you can just look for another Advantage plan. Typically in any area, they offer several, and Advantage plans are one of those type of plans where they are required to take you on as a client. So no matter what health situation you may be in, they will accept you as a client on their plan. The alternative, which can be an option, is anytime you get removed or a Medicare Advantage plan gets discontinued, you have the opportunity to go on to a Medicare supplemental or a Medigap plan. And so that could be an advantage, because generally speaking, if you don't get on those Medigap or Medicare supplemental plans right when you qualify for Medicare, then there's something called guarantee issue, meaning that they'll ask you some health questions to make sure that you qualify before they take you on a plan. In those scenarios where your Advantage plan goes away, you actually get that guaranteed issue. So as I go through this, I can see that a lot of people may be confused. If this is your situation where you just want to get a little bit more educated about Medicare, and you want to work with an advisor that focuses on retirement, including that piece of the puzzle, I'd encourage anyone listening, give us a call and get on my calendar. We can schedule a very easy phone call to get your questions answered. And then if it makes sense, we'll actually invite you into our offices. We have offices in Summerlin and Henderson. So if you have those questions right now, reach out to us, 702-744-8344. And I would be happy to walk you through a lot of these scenarios.
And just to make sure that you don't miss out, that complimentary retirement consultation is available right now for our first 5 callers. You can sit down with Jimmy, get a personalized review, and figure out the best way forward together. You've just got to call 702-744-8344. That's 702-744-8344. Or you can always connect online at rightpathwm.com. Okay, Jimmy, want to talk to you about this. Earlier this week, a friend of mine sent me an Instagram post that talked about different fears and phobias. Now, one was called plutophobia, which is the fear of money. So, of course, this intrigued me. I went down a rabbit hole and I read that this can manifest during retirement in the fear of spending your savings. And there's one way to overcome that. And the article talked about one tool that helps increase certainty. So, what do you think they're talking about here, Jimmy?
Well, I think that when you think about the fear of spending money, it's human nature that, when we're kind of geared towards during our early years, we're always told you got to save money, right? You got to save money, put money away in your retirement account. So as a society, this has kind of been ingrained in our minds, is that we get our jobs, we're getting a paycheck, we know that we're automatically saving for the retirement is the end goal, and the rest of the income we kind of just spend. And so when you kind of have that mindset over a 20, 30, or even 40-year period, and then you enter into retirement, it is really difficult to make that shift because generally speaking, your income gets lower. Like oftentimes we're just living off of Social Security as that fixed income stream. And then we got this bucket of money that we've saved for retirement. But, for 30 or 40 years, we've been taught not to spend our savings. We're saving, we're growing our money. And when you shift into retirement, what we see and what this article illustrates is that people have a hard time spending. But what we do see and what research has shown us is that people tend not to want to spend their savings, but they're free to spend more freely, I should say, any income that comes in. So that Social Security check that comes in, they're spending it. So if you can create another income stream, a lot of times what we recommend is an income annuity, because what you're doing is you're, in essence, creating a personal pension. You're taking a portion of that hard-earned growth that you've gotten out of, say, a 401k, you're repurposing that to create an income stream that you could never outlive. And now you're getting that Social Security paycheck every month. You're going to get that personal pension that you created every month. And you are spending that money because you know in your mind that you're going to get that paycheck again next month. And without creating that actual income plan, you're not going to have the confidence to go into retirement and spend like you should. And God forbid, you're going to be the richest person in the cemetery. And we don't want that for any of our clients.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always inspiring to hear how somebody finds the confidence to actually enjoy their retirement that they've worked so hard to get to. And sometimes it just takes that one moment or that one strategy to help you break through those worries. So have you ever seen a client make that leap, Jimmy, moving past that fear of spending in retirement, and what really made the difference for them?
Yeah, Casey, I have. I mean, obviously we work with people all the time coming into retirement, and, typically they just have a bucket of money that they've saved. They have their Social Security that they're going to be turning on soon, but no real plan. And so when we start breaking down, what do you want to do in retirement? What are your aspirations? The goals that they have are pretty moderate. They don't look like they want to, do a lot of traveling or, maybe spoil the grandkids and all the fun things that we think about in retirement. And I'm asking about them, we're talking about budgets and expenses. It seems like, with one client that I'm thinking about specifically, they came in and telling me, we want to spend $5,000 per month, which is basically just enough to cover their expenses. but they saved really well in their retirement accounts. So as we're talking about this, we're saying, what about travel? What about, spoiling the grandkids, helping them out with college? You guys have talked about going to Europe. Where does all that fit in? And they just looked at me like, well, we get about $4,000 or $5,000 a month of income from our Social Security. So we don't really have anything else that we can spend. Not thinking that, we can create income. And what we've done is over the years, what you've saved this retirement account was for is for income, is to do those fun things. But without a plan, they didn't have the confidence to do this. So they came in again when we kind of mapped out what we could do with their resources, how we could create that personal pension, how we could grow a portion of their assets and kind of insulate it from market volatility. As they saw these different puzzle pieces coming together, they could see the full picture of how they could pay their bills, but then they had this other portion of the income to do the fun stuff. And as we walked them through that plan, it really was that aha moment where they said that, retirement's not going to be that bad because now we have the confidence to go into it and do all the fun stuff that we planned on doing.
Yeah, that fear can really keep you from enjoying the retirement that you have worked decades to build. And that's exactly what we do not want to happen. So if you're sitting here wondering whether you're being too conservative with your spending, or if you just want to know what's safe to spend without jeopardizing your financial future, Jimmy is here to help. So we encourage you to pick up the phone. 702-744-8344 is that number for you. Claim a spot on Jimmy's calendar. Get that complimentary retirement consultation that he's offering today. You guys can walk through your income sources and what your goals are, and then you can work together to build a plan that works for you. That number for you again, 702-744-8344. One more time, write it down, 702-744-8344. Or you can always head online. That website is rightpathwm.com. That is going to do it for us this week. We will be back next week, same time, same place, with more great insight from certified financial planner Jimmy Lynn here on The Right Path to Retirement. Take care.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Right Path Wealth Management. Right Path Wealth Management is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Right Path Wealth Management are not subject to investment advisory requirements. Investing involves risk, including potential loss of principal. Any reference to the protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing carrier. This radio podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It's not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decision, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Right Path Wealth Management is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Right Path Wealth Management. Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA.